And that almost looks like vacuum. That's okay. This is all volume. Anybody know what volume is? Danny Baumgarten, what's volume? And what do we use it for, and what good is it? Volume. Carol Winkleman? Yeah, well, we have liquid volume, but that's actually not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about liquid volume, but it is part of it. Part of it. Elijah? Okay. That's amount of space. Anything that we talk about volume for? There's not a lot of examples, but there are some. Amount of space or something. Liquid is one, but that's like gallons, quarts, pints, whatever. This is actually volumes of three-dimensional shapes there. One of the things they use it for, I know, if you ever build yourself a house and you have to get what they call the heating and the air conditioning thing, the guy that puts in your furnace and your air conditioner has to know the volume of your house because he has to know how big of a furnace to cool or heat all that air that is inside of your house. And if you had a house that was the size of this classroom, you'd need a much smaller heater or air conditioner than if you had, you know, something that was the size of our gym. And you have to get those sort of things right. And it is measured in what's called cubic units. It's measured in cubes, just like area is measured in squares. Volume is measured in cubes, and depending on what measurement you're using, that's how big your cube is. For example, if you were drawing a cubic centimeter, that's not even close, it doesn't look like a cube. See if I can get it. That's about 1 centimeter cubed, and you can put that little 3 up there. I've got one here. Somewhere here is a cubic centimeter. This is a cubic, 1 cubic centimeter. It's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Or a cubic inch would be 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. It's a little bit bigger. Or a cubic foot would be 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, a foot cubed. If you're probably talking about 1 foot cubed. If you were talking about the Earth, you'd probably measure it in cubic miles or cubic kilometers or the volume, how much. Now, you might ask yourself, where does this come from, this little feet cubed? And we talked about this before. You know, if you look at labeling a cubic foot, I guess, and that's what we're talking about. The dimensions of a cubic foot are 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. To find something's volume, or the volume of what today we're talking about, a rectangular prism, find the volume of a rectangular prism, you multiply the length times the width times the height. Length times the width times the height. And if you look at what that means with this, it means you multiply 1 foot times 1 foot times 1 foot. And this will be tough multiplication for you. What is 1 times 1 times 1? 1 And what is the label foot times foot times foot? That's where the foot to the third power comes foot cubed, and we talked about that. Just like if you're talking square units, if this is 6 inches by 6 inches, you multiply the 6 times the 6 and you get 36, and you multiply the inch times the inch and that gives you inches squared, 36 inches squared. Volume is always in cubic units because you multiply 3 labels together. Area is always in square units because you multiply 2 units together. That's kind of exciting, I think. And here's a question. Here's a question they will ask you. How many 1 centimeter cubes, which is a cubic centimeter, how many 1 centimeter cubes would be needed, would you need to build a cube? Is it a cube? 4 centimeters on each side. 4 centimeters on each side. 4 centimeters on each side. And if you saw this problem in your book, Lady Kavari, what would be the first thing you would do? See how easy that is? And what is this cube? It is a 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. And how would you find the volume? That's what we're asking. How many 1 centimeters cubed would it take? I could actually do that. No, I can't. That's not enough. Again, there, the answer to this is, and then the next thing you do is write down your volume formula. You can abbreviate length times width times height. Volume equals 4 centimeters times 4 centimeters times 4 centimeters. And 4 times 4 times 4, anybody? 64 centimeters times centimeters times centimeters. Centimeters cubed. 64 centimeters cubed. Now here's a trick question. How many cubic inches do you think there'd be in a cubic foot? How many cubic inches in a cubic foot? Brooklyn?
4.
Negative. Elijah? 12. No. Cubic inches in a cubic foot. Elijah?
3.
No. Riley?
6.
No. And here's where after I draw it, maybe you'll get the gist. I am starting with a cubic foot, right? I'm starting with something that is 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot. And in order to figure out this problem, you'd have to know how many inches are in a foot, which is 12. So instead of saying this is a foot, you'd say this is 12 inches, this is 12 inches, and this is 12 inches. How many cubic inches would be in a cubic foot, Elijah?
36 inches.
Well, unfortunately, 12 times 12 times 12 is not 36. Jaden?
160.
Well, let's do this for everybody. 12 times 12 is 144, just so. Then I'd have to multiply 144 by 12, which is 288 plus 144. 8, 12. 1,728 cubic inches there would be in 1 cubic foot. 1,728 cubic inches in the cubic foot. That's a lot. How about this? How many cubic feet would be in 1 cubic yard? If I had a square that is 1 yard by 1 yard by 1 yard, it'd be about this tall, this wide, and this wide. How many cubic feet would that be? Isabel?
27.
It would be 27. That is unbelievable. Other things that use volume. When you go to the store and you